Good afternoon, and welcome to the City Club of Cleveland. My name is Jan Roller, and I am president of the club. For 97 years, the audiences of City Club forums have benefited from the knowledge and information imparted from our speakers. Our speaker today is Professor Rosabeth Moss Kanter, a native Clevelander. She is a prolific author and professor at the Harvard Business School, where she specializes in strategy, innovation, and leadership for change. Last week, we here in Cuyahoga County voted in a dramatic change for our county government, which will replace the leadership from 3 county commissioners to 1 county executive. I'm sure Professor Kanter can give us some advice on the type of leader we should choose. She has said, leaders must wake up people out of inertia. They must get people excited about something they've never seen before, something that does not yet exist. Professor Kanter is the author or co-author of 18 books. I won't name them all, but her book, The Change Masters, was named one of the most influential business books of the 20th century by the Financial Times. And she is known for her classic 1977 study of tokenism, how being a minority in a group can affect one's performance due to enhanced visibility. Her latest book is Supercorp, how Vanguard companies create innovation, profits, growth, and social good. One gets exhausted just reading Dr. Kanter's accomplishments. She has received 23 honorary doctoral degrees, as well as numerous leadership awards and prizes for her books and articles. She is a former editor of the Harvard Business Review and has been named one of the 50 most powerful women in the world by the Times of London. In 2002, Accenture Consulting Company ranked Professor Kanter number 11 on the list of the 50 most influential business thinkers in the world. She advises CEOs of large companies such as IBM and small companies, and is chair and director of the Advanced Leadership Initiative at Harvard University, which is an effort across the professional schools to help successful leaders at the top of their professions apply their skills to addressing challenging national and global issues. She speaks widely, often sharing the platform with presidents and prime ministers at national and international events, such as the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. It would seem all these activities would take all of her time, but she has also served on numerous boards and nonprofit, on boards of numerous businesses and nonprofit boards. And her work in that regard has touched Cleveland. Today in the audience, we have several City Year Corps members. You know them by their red jackets. City Year engages a diverse group of young men and women ages 17 to 24 for full-time community service in 19 locations across the country. And Professor Kanter was an early and continuing board member, and we in Cleveland thank you for that. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rosabeth Moss Kanter.
Thank you very much, President Roller. I'm very pleased to be here today because I have a message that I hope will help us change the way we operate in America. We know that this is a very challenging time for the United States and the world. We are still in a financial crisis. Even if the stock markets are doing better, we have very high unemployment, and we are challenged because we got to these problems by, some would say, an absence of principled leadership. Well, I embarked on a journey about 4 years ago to identify the characteristics of 21st century leadership that was principled and that could make a positive difference in the world. And I embarked on that journey well before we had the financial crash. I chose a set of companies to follow, not only in the United States but around the world. I chose companies headquartered on 4 different continents, with a 5th figuring into the book. We followed them to 20 countries, conducted over 350 interviews in a search for what are the characteristics of those companies that combine innovation, profits, growth, and social good. And I'm happy to say that that set of companies, starting with the U.S. companies, IBM and Procter & Gamble, have held up very well during the crash, and their leaders and their leadership provide guideposts for perhaps a new kind of capitalism, maybe a new way of doing business in America, where financial performance is still extremely important, because without profits or without revenues or donations to a not-for-profit like City Year, you can't do your work, but where that's not the only standard we apply to what an effective organization is or who is worthy of our investment. So I want to tell you some of the lessons about leadership that apply not only to the giants that I call the Supercorp, but also to anybody in any profession that wants to go from small to super, or from a profession to having a positive impact on the world beyond simply the practice of the profession. And there are 4 major lessons that I've drawn about 21st century leadership from the companies I studied for my book, Supercorp. The first is the centrality of well-articulated, well-understood values and principles that are derived from a strong sense of purpose. What characterizes all of the companies I looked at and their ability to survive and in many cases thrive and outperform their industries in challenging times is they start with a strong sense of purpose. For Procter & Gamble, what they call their PVP, they love acronyms, the PVP, Purpose, Values, and Principles, are a management guidance tool used all over the world to unite people around the same sense of purpose and to make it possible for diverse teams of people in diverse places to feel that they're all standing for the same thing. So the Procter & Gamble PVP starts with a statement of purpose, that our purpose is to improve the lives of the world's consumers now and for generations to come. Well, those are inspiring words, but they're just words. What happens in the Supercorp is that those words guide people in the same way, by the way, that the red-jacketed City Year Corps members working across the United States and also in South Africa have rituals where they recite or look at what their statement of purpose is, what their values are, because it makes a difference in infusing daily life and guiding business strategy. So the values are what the leaders teach, and instead of the old brand of leadership, 21st century leadership, where all wisdom emanates from corporate, now leaders go out to teach and to engage people in discussion and dialogue about the values and consider that sometimes their highest calling. So when Sam Palmisano became chairman of IBM in 2002, chairman and CEO, and he recognized then a statement that I quote in my book, he recognized that business propositions, business transactions come and go. Management is temporary. All that we have that endures is our culture. And so he looked at a method for refreshing IBM values for the 21st century. And instead of writing the values himself the way Thomas Watson Jr. did way back in IBM history, he said, using the tools and technologies of the 21st century, we have to engage all of our people in a dialogue about values, about what we stand for, because as we change the company, as we face a world of volatility and pressures, this will be what unites us and allows us to bring teams together from any part of the world who have come from diverse backgrounds and yet can communicate from the same standards.